Good afternoon, everybody. Hi, it's Andi. I'm here today for Living Your Best Life, and I am so excited to be here with you to talk today about mailing a letter. So, coming up on Valentine's Day, and this is the time of year where we love to get together and we love to love on the ones that we care about the most. And a fun way to do that is to send them a Valentine in the mail, or sending them a letter. You don't have to send Valentine, you could just send a letter. So this week we kind of discovered that practicing our addresses is a really good idea. It's something that most of us do when we're in school, and then once we get out of school we kind of stop having to do that. And I think for our adults with Down syndrome it's really important that we practice those kinds of basic information skills like our name, our address, our phone numbers. It's so easy now with our phones to just program the numbers in and we don't have to remember them anymore. But I think it's really important that we practice those phone numbers, address, name, even our parents' names, so that if we're ever in a situation where we need to know someone's name or phone number, we have it up here in our head. So, all right, here's what we're gonna do first. We are going to talk about the parts of an address. So, I have it all ready right here on my clipboard. So name goes at the top, and then our number of our house, and the street name. And then the bottom line, you're gonna have the city, the state, and the zip code. So those are three really important things that we need to have when we address an envelope. Now the next important thing is that we know where to address the envelope. So here's my envelope for my card. I have a bright red one to go with my super fun Valentine Snoopy card. So when you're addressing an envelope, your address is going to go down here in the bottom right corner. If you put it in the wrong spot, the mail system won't be able to read it. So we want to make sure that it's down here in this bottom corner. And then our stamp is going to go up here. So when I am getting ready to send an email or practice writing an address, I usually like to practice it on paper first before I write it on the envelope. Anybody that knows me, I do a lot of envelopes every week because of bingo. So I've had a lot of practice writing all of your addresses. But one thing I do is I have this really cool little address book, and in here I keep all my addresses of all my friends and family. And then when it's time to mail something, I know right where to look in this little book. So if you have one of these at your house, this is a great thing to keep track of all of your addresses. But this is what I'm going to use today to find my address. And you know what else I do? In the very back, I keep all my stamps. So that way, when it's time to mail something, I know right where they are. So this letter, I'm going to mail to my sister. Some of you might have met her. Her name's Laura, and she works at the hospital. So I'm going to mail this to my sister. So I'm going to put her name at the top, so you can kind of see, you know, it's tricky with the lighting, so it's kind of in that bottom corner. And then I'm going to write her street number. And if you've noticed, I'm not saying her address because of internet safety. We want to make sure that we don't say our names and addresses in a place where others can see it, so it's not safe. So we have to be really careful. So I wrote her number first and then her street name. And then the city, do you remember? And then the state, and we live in Missouri and so does my sister. So the abbreviation for our state is MO. If you live in Illinois, it's IL. So you have to make sure that you know where you're mailing your card or your letter to have the right state abbreviation. Sometimes that's the hardest part. And then you want to have your zip code, and that's another really important thing. In the St. Louis area, most of our zip codes start with 63. So now I've got her address all filled out on here in this bottom corner. And the other cool thing that you can do is you can put a return address. So up here in this corner, I can put my address so that if something were to go wrong, the mailman knows that it came from my house. But I don't have to put my name, just my address. So I'm going to put my numbers, my street name, my city. I live in Darting Prairie and I live in Missouri. So I'm gonna put MO and then my zip code. My zip code is 63368. Cool, huh? So I have my address up here and my sister's address down here. And then the last thing I need is a stamp. So your mom or dad or you might go to the post office and get some stamps. I always like to get these, are called forever stamps. And when you buy them, you pay the current price for postage. And they never change. So even if the postage goes up, these stamps still work. So I think right now postage is 50 cents. And so my flag forever stamps will last forever. So now I have my stamp. And then I'm going to take my card and write a little message. What do you think I should write? I'm gonna write, I love you. And I'm gonna write Happy Valentine's Day. And I'm gonna do XOXO Andi. So see, I wrote it in this little corner. So this card says, I hope your Valentine's Day finds you. And then when you open it, look, it says surrounded by love. So I wrote a little note in there so she knows it's from me. I'm gonna close it up, put it into my envelope. Now, here's my envelope. It's really important that we seal this up really good. Some envelopes you can lick, but since it's COVID season, I kind of get nervous about putting my mouth on things that aren't food. So I'm gonna use tape, or you could use a glue stick. For my bingo cards, when I mail those every week, I just use a glue stick. That way I'm not putting my mouth on things that could be not safe. I think it's really important that we are careful about that in COVID season, huh? Okay, so I taped up the back of my envelope and it's ready to go in the mailbox. Okay, so let's quickly review. Envelope, it's gonna have the name, the number, the street name, our city, our state. Remember, it's a 2-number abbreviation, in our zip code. And that's gonna be a 5-number thing that you need to remember. I really encourage you to practice with your loved one, their name, address, and their phone number, because it's super important. It's easy to think that we all remember it, but if we don't practice it, we lose it. So be sure to practice this with your loved one. If you have any questions about how to practice your name and address, please feel free to email me or reach out to any of the DSA GSL staff. We are always there to help you. Friends, thank you so much for joining me for Living Your Best Life.